Why are experts warning us about violence in the 2024 election? The political climate in the United States has become increasingly polarized, with tensions running high on both sides of the aisle. Experts are sounding the alarm, predicting that the upcoming election could be one of the most contentious in history. The stakes are high, and the potential for unrest is significant. Will the election results be peacefully accepted, no matter the outcome? This question looms large as we approach the 2024 election. The events of the last several years serve as a stark reminder of what can happen when a portion of the population feels the need to protest perceived offenses. The potential for similar unrest in 2024 is a real concern. If we think the wrong person has won, do states start seceding? There were several states on the West Coast that discussed that in 2020, if Trump was the winner. The idea of secession, once considered a relic of the Civil War era, has resurfaced in recent years. While it may seem far-fetched, the fact that it is being discussed at all is indicative of the deep divisions within the country. Could this cause a civil war, a much-needed reset? The possibility of a second civil war, while still unlikely, is not entirely out of the question. The increasing polarization and the rise of extremist groups on both sides of the political spectrum have led some to speculate that the country could be headed for a major conflict. And it's not just extremist groups. There's a rising tide of threats against political figures and their supporters, normalizing violence as a political tool. The normalization of political violence is a troubling trend. Threats against politicians have become more common, and the use of violence as a means of achieving political ends is becoming increasingly accepted. We have seen the left already use violence as a tool to push their socialist agenda. The use of violence by political groups is not limited to one side of the spectrum. While the left has proven to be more willing to use violence to further their agenda, the right has started to engage in some violent actions also, contributing to the overall climate of unrest. We are a divided country. We have one side wanting a return to traditional values and morals, while the other side is pushing a woke socialist agenda and is trying to force everyone to live their way. This fundamental divide is at the heart of the current political and societal tensions. Each side views the other as an existential threat to their way of life, making compromise and cooperation increasingly difficult. While a full-blown civil war might be unlikely, smaller-scale violence is a real threat. The potential for localized violence and unrest is significant. We have already seen instances of street clashes, vandalism, and other forms of political violence, and these incidents could become more frequent before and after the election. The role of social media in spreading misinformation and stoking political tensions cannot be overstated. Platforms like Facebook and Twitter have become battlegrounds for competing narratives, with misinformation and conspiracy theories spreading like wildfire. This has only served to deepen the divisions within the country. While no one on either side is willing to die for a particular politician, there are people on both sides willing to die for their ideologies. This ideological fervor is a driving force behind much of the current political unrest. People are deeply committed to their beliefs, and this can lead to extreme actions in defense of those beliefs. As we approach the 2024 election, it is important to remain vigilant and prepared for the possibility of unrest. Keep your head down and your powder dry. This old adage serves as a reminder to stay alert and be prepared for any eventuality. By staying informed and engaged, we can help to ensure a peaceful and orderly election process. To understand the potential outcomes of the 2024 election, we must look at the key players and their platforms. On one side, we have the incumbent party, which is focused on socialist policies like gun control, price fixing, and wokeness. On the other side, the opposition is emphasizing national security, immigration control, and traditional values. The clash of these platforms will shape the election's narrative. Historical context is also crucial. The 2020 election saw unprecedented voter turnout and mail-in voting due to the pandemic. These factors, combined with instances of voter fraud, have set the stage for a highly scrutinized 2024 election. Both parties are ramping up efforts to secure their bases and sway undecided voters. Key players in the 2024 election include the most prominent figure on one side and on the other, the least popular candidate in history. She won the nomination without even receiving a single vote. Their policies, public personas, and campaign strategies will play a significant role in shaping voter opinions and the overall election outcome. Despite the current climate of division, the United States has a long history of peaceful transitions of power. While no one wants violence to become the way political disagreements are resolved in America, I think it is bound to start happening more frequently.